No more. No more. No more. We need doers of the deed. A sister got to be able to move around. I can't be contained. You know what I'm saying? Black girl magic is real. Hello, somebody. Those of us who can relate to the everyday struggle of the everyday people of this nation must unite regardless of our ethnicity, our gender, our sexual orientation, our religion, or no religion. We stand together. If nothing fundamentally changes for multi-billionaires and billionaires, then nothing fundamentally changes for you and you and you and you and you and you and you. Hello, somebody. And you and you and you and you. Hello, somebody. Woo, Sarah and Colin. I'm telling you, that intro get me pumped up. I'm pumped right now. Hello, everybody, wherever you are in the world. We are here to say hello. I am so excited to have Sarah and Colin with me. And Colin Gills is the head bargaining nurse and a member of the Madison DSA. And Sarah Quinn is a nurse at the University of Wisconsin Hospital. Those of you who have been following them, they have been fighting very, very hard for the nurses at the University of Wisconsin Hospital, baby, taking it to the streets. And guess what? We got some good news to report tonight. And it is because the power of organizing is real. So Sarah and Colin, welcome to our live tonight. And tell the people what the good news is. And SEIU, baby, in the house, in the house, in the house. Who's going first, Sarah or Colin?
Go with Colin. Thanks for having us, Senator Turner.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for having us, Senator Turner. Great to be here with you, Sarah. Today, we won a historic victory. We're the first bargaining unit to have lost its bargaining rights, to have lost its union in Act 10, during Act 10 in Wisconsin, to get it back. And today, we announced our settlement agreement with UW Health, which includes a clear path to recognition, and it also immediately gives us a seat at the table so that we can roll up our sleeves and get to work solving the problems we've been organizing around for the last 3 years.
Wow, there it is. 3 years you've been organizing around this, and today was the day. Sarah, what say you on this issue?
I've been at UW for a long time, and I really didn't think we'd ever see this. So just having a seat at the table and getting our union back, I had been thinking, I don't know if I can keep doing this. And today I'm like, I can definitely keep doing this. And I am more fired up to fight for this than I ever have been. So it's pretty awesome. And I'm just so grateful. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful thing. Hello, Texas. So we have people viewing us from all over the world, and they are making comments. And as they make them, I will read some of them out. But you have support all over this country. So, Sarah, you had mentioned a little bit. You want to walk people through how we got to this moment, and Colin, jump in whatever you want. But people need to understand this historic moment, 3 years in the making, did not just happen by happenstance. It didn't happen by the goodwill of administration. They were actually fighting it at first. It happened because people like Colin and Sarah and their sisters and brothers and family and friends within the House of Labor were willing to fight, collectively bargain for better wages, benefits, and work conditions, showing that we are stronger when we have a union. Go ahead, Sarah, and then Colin, jump on in here and tell the people, because we don't want to assume that everybody knows how you got here.
Yeah. At the start of it, I would, probably really more give it to Colin, but it really just started with talking to each other and starting to get postcards out of nurses that were interested, nurses showing up at other nurses' meetings. I remember the first time it came to me, I was in a totally different nurses' meeting and nurses came around. So it really had to start out as this quiet but powerful thing. Like, it wasn't something we could do outright, but we still really made it happen. And it even when it didn't feel possible, a lot of people were still getting involved early on. But I really think the heavy lifting at the start of this, I really think Colin was more in at the beginning of this.
Well, Sarah, we need everybody, and you did more than your fair share of work. But I can tell you that we've been building this movement since 2019, and we got cards. We collected cards, union representation cards, not once but twice. And we had to endure along the way, before we got to this moment, we had to endure a little thing called the COVID pandemic, which is ongoing. So we've been through a lot together. And for me, things really started we started to really get moving when we started moving towards a strike back in May. And we started collecting pledges from nurses, pledges to strike. And that was a hard conversation because it wasn't clear what our legal protections were. So we had to go in and explain to people that our greatest strength was our solidarity with each other. That by having each other's backs, we didn't have to worry about those legal protections or having anybody else come in and win our union back for us. We had to do it ourselves. And what that looked like for me, I work night shift. And so at 3:30 in the morning, I'd take my break and I'd walk to other units, go to their break rooms, and I'd just sit down with other nurses and talk to them about it. I'd talk to them about how we can make our hospital better for our patients and for each other. And I talked through their concerns and fears, and we just day by day built and built and built, and that got us to where we are right now.
And Colin, on that point, I just want to remind folks and shout out, people are shouting you out from all over the country. Jennifer in Michigan, hey baby, thank you for that. Nurses are the salt of the earth. You are part of those essential workers that were being so praised at the top, at the height of the pandemic. We got some really short attention spans because the essential workers that we were shouting out at the beginning of the pandemic, we hardly mention them anymore. They still need to be shouted out now. So whether it's the nurses or the folks that work at our grocery stores, at our drug stores, the people who keep it running, people working outside, the sanitation workers, all of that, they still are the essential workers. Back to the nurses. Oh my God, let me just tell you something. Nurses are the salt of the earth. You guys really, really are. I am so proud that I've been organizing with nurses for a very long time. I want to shout out the National Nurses United organization that is on the West Coast primarily. But you all, I mean, when it comes to universal health care and really sounding the alarm about what patients need and the ratio that should be in place in hospitals between nurses and patients so that you can care for patients in a safe manner, both for yourself and also your patients. You sound the alarms all the time. You make those sacrifices. But Kyla, I want to go back to a point that you made. I want to remind folks that when people say they're going on strike, there are no paychecks. Mm-hmm. Understand this, that they are making a big sacrifice, and it is a risk that they are willing to take for better benefits, better wages, better work conditions, and laying a very strong foundation for the next set of nurses or other workers who endure strikes to come after them. They're creating a better environment for themselves and for the other workers that will be coming behind them. And sometimes, Colin and Sarah, we forget that when people go on strike, they're not getting a paycheck. It is, in fact, a big, big sacrifice. And you all have been just standing strong, making it happen. And I know that it takes teamwork to make the dream work. And you, Sarah, and you, Colin, are representing that larger team of both people who work for the hospital, but also people around the country who are in support of your efforts to unionize. And I got to tell you, the House of Labor is rocking and rolling right now. You all are doing some incredible things. Before we come back to the University of Wisconsin Hospital, I want to make sure that folks know that in Minnesota, there are 15,000 nurses who are striking right now as we speak. We need to shout them out, show them some love and support. And I would be remiss if I didn't shout out one of the best attorney general in the nation, and that is Attorney General Keith Ellison from the great state of Minnesota. He's holding it down. He's in an election cycle this year, and we got to do what we can to make sure that he wins his re-election, because we need attorney generals like AG Keith Ellison. Sarah, you want to say a word or two about your 15,000 sisters and brothers and family and friends in the great state of Minnesota who are striking?
Yeah, when I heard that was such an inspiration to me. It's like, I knew I was going to strike. I knew this is what I needed to do and what I had to do. But then to hear there's 15,000 other nurses getting out there, risking their paychecks, and just saying what they need to do to get patient care, it was hard not to feel like it's like the more people that do something, the more like energy and power you feel, because like none of us are alone in this.
That's right.
And like seeing them do that is what said to me, I'm not alone in this. Like I have a voice, and we're going to have an even bigger voice. So the fact that that was happening at the same time is awesome. And I am definitely thinking about them. So it's just the more of us that stand up, the better this is going to get, just hands down.
That is it. Now, Colin, were you surprised that you all came to an agreement?
Yeah. I was part of the negotiating team, and let me tell you, when the negotiations started at the beginning of last week, it was hard to see light at the end of the tunnel. But and here I have to thank our elected officials in Wisconsin. Governor Evers called us together at his house on Friday, and that was really a turning point in our conversation. Governor Evers was there. He sat at the table with us. He reminded us that we had to find a way forward for the good of the state of Wisconsin, and I think that had an impression on everyone. What we were at the table because of all the work we had done building the strength of our organization. But Governor Evers, he sort of came in and helped us close the deal.
Well, good on the governor. Lord, it's nice to be able to shout out a governor. All right, Governor Evers, good on you, baby. Glad you did that. It's so rare these days. So glad that you did that. And Colin, just your transparency when I asked you, were you surprised that it happened and happened so quickly? You're like, yes. People need to know that, because they get to kind of look behind the veil, because you and Sarah are here telling us what has happened and what is going to happen moving forward. I want to pause for an announcement here. I want everybody to know that Unbossed with yours truly premieres October 17th on TYT. Go join right now. TYT.com/unbossed to subscribe for free, baby. Come on and subscribe. See Sister Turner hold it down 5 days a week, standing up for the people. Unbossed. Make sure that you subscribe. So, Colin and Sarah, so let's give some words of encouragement to our sisters and brothers, our family and friends in the family of nurses in Minnesota. They're about to go through it. It's going to be heavy for them. What words of encouragement would you have for them as they are embarking on this righteous journey?
Well, there's a thing we like to say in the labor movement. It's when we fight, we win. And I think we learned that lesson pretty powerfully by getting right up to the precipice of a strike in order to win our path to recognition. And we were inspired by them along the way. And they, we had a nurse from Minnesota come and join one of our weekly meetings, Mary from Minnesota. Everybody keeps talking about Mary from Minnesota. So shout out to Mary from Minnesota. And I had conversations with nurses in Minnesota as they were leading up to their strike, and I learned so much from those conversations. They know what they're doing. Not that we don't, but they are a well-oiled machine up there, and their solidarity is something to behold.
Come on. All right, Mary from Minnesota, you go, baby. Sarah.
I just know for me, when we were at the Capitol today for the announcement, that there was just something about being like shoulder to shoulder with my fellow nurses, and with Governor Evers supporting us, being in that room with people that just cared so much and were willing to put it all on the line. It's like, it really felt like any risk was possible and worth it. And I think that's what I'd say, to just lean on looking at the person next to you and the person on your other side, because that's what really touched me. And it was like, yeah, that's what I would say. Just seeing other people with you.
That is beautiful. And unions are necessary because it gives the worker, the people who make the engines run, the opportunity to be equals at the table. And the polling is showing that the American people are on the side of unions at greater numbers than ever before, which is a really beautiful thing. And a lot of that is because of people like you, Sarah, and you, Colin, and others who've been working by your side, the UW, the SEIU, and other labor unions. I think 71% of the American people approve of unions right now. Right now, what that is saying is that the American people believe that the workers of this nation deserve better wages, better work conditions, and better benefits, and understanding that unions lift all wages, even wages of people who are not unionized. Unions are vitally important. And you all, I mean, y'all showed up and showed out, but this didn't happen overnight. Colin, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around you saying you guys been doing this for 3 years.
And, just to throw something out there too, for maybe anybody that like is hesitant about this stuff, it felt scary at times. Like, just to be honest, I felt unsure. I had to have hard conversations with people I work with that I care about. I had moments where I was like, I don't know, but like what had just turned back for me was that like I knew in my heart what was right. And like if you're uncertain, that is okay. Like, but check with your heart. Like, check with what you know is right about justice and what you know is right about having a voice. And you're not the only one who might be struggling with that. But once I got through that and knew this is what is right for our patients, for my community, for my coworkers, it's like I just knew I got this strength from that. So if you're unsure, that is okay, but just stick with it. We have to do what we know is right. And I'm just amazed that I get to be part of this movement that's happening all over the country. Like even my dad called me. My dad's kind of, maybe not always the biggest supporter of unions. And he said, if those people at Amazon could do it, you can do it too. And he called me one morning to say that. And I was like, yeah, that's right. All of us can.
All of us can. Well,
Hey, and shout out to Chris Smalls for coming to one of our meetings.
Very good. Yeah, I saw
he came to one of our meetings, and his words of advice to us were never to let your head hang down and treat every day like it was day number one. And I would pass that along to Minnesota nurses and to all working people who are building unions around the country.
Yeah, amen to that. I mean, this movement is like a freight train, baby. It cannot be stopped. It cannot be stopped. Any final words, anything else you all want to share about either the experience or encouragement or ways that people can continue to be involved? I mean, what else do you want people to know about this incredible moment for the nurses at UW on your victory the day before you were going out on strike, baby? That, woo, you talk about miracles happening. One happened.
I would just say, look, it might feel lonely and scary sometimes, but we have each other's backs as workers across the country. And when we stand up together, we can really make some huge victories, both as nurses, but as working people in general. And this is a special moment. Chris Smalls, he talks a lot about hot labor summer. Well, we're moving into strike-tember, and that's pretty exciting. And who knows what comes after that? I'm not going to venture a guess as to what will rhyme with October, but it's going to be it's going to be great. So let's keep hammering away at this, because this is how we make our country better. It's by joining together at the workplace. For too long, we've let the workplace be a place where is sort of neutral ground, or is something where the boss has all the power. And now we're starting to take that power back, and it's just extraordinary to watch, and it's going to change the world.
Yeah, it is. It's happening. It is happening, Colin, all over the world. Sarah, for you, any final thoughts?
I just think I'd really, I worked my first 5 years at my current job was under a union contract. And it's like that hospital had a heart. And I felt like I was a part of that hospital. We lost that union, and I felt like I lost my voice. I felt like I just became a worker. So like having worked under a union and I can tell you 100%, I want to work in a union hospital, and I want to work for a union. And and furthermore, I'm going to keep fighting for this one, and I'm going to be fighting for other unions too, because this got me started, and I think this got a lot of people started. And we're not just going to be standing up for ourselves. Once we get where we're going, we're going to keep fighting, and we're going to keep trying to lift other people up, because that's how we got lifted up. We got lifted up from the support of a lot of other people plus us. So yeah, it doesn't end with where you are. We're going to support great candidates, and we're going to try to lift other people up.
There it is. That solidarity matters. We need the PRO Act to pass in the Congress. Hello, somebody. Hello, somebody. PRO Act to pass in the Congress. Yeah, we do need that to pass. Throwing that out there. I want to close with some words from one of the greatest union organizers of the 20th century, Asa Philip Randolph. He led the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters, baby. Yes, he did. And he said these words, that justice is never given, it is exacted, and the struggle must be continuous. For freedom is never a final fact, but a continuing, evolving process to higher and higher levels of human, social, economic, political, and religious relationship. You better say that, Asa Philip Randolph. He did say that. It is never final. So we must continue to fight and continue to unite. We are all in the working class. Some of us may be blessed to be in the upper echelons of the working class, but baby, if you ain't got a sugar daddy or a sugar mama or a sugar somebody, if you don't have a trust fund, if you have to work for a living, if you can't afford to take 3 or 4 or 5 months off without feeling some pain and some pressure, if you are 1 or 2 paychecks away from ruin, if a medical emergency hit you and you wouldn't be able to survive it all economically, or excuse me, financially, then baby, you in the working class. Don't get it twisted. We are all in the working class. Some higher, some in the middle, and some are among the working poor, but we are together. And so we must have solidarity. This union movement is important for all people, working people in the United States of America, baby. I don't know, Colin. I'm trying to think what we can rhyme with October. Over in October. I don't know. Hell, we gonna keep on pushing through, baby. Yes, we are. So to the nurses at UW, thank you so much for your courage and for your courage and your wisdom and your foresight to stand and to keep fighting. For all who support the House of Labor, thank you so much for what you do. It does take teamwork to make the dream work. Sarah and Colin, big ups to SEIU. Thank you so much for representing your sisters and brothers tonight. We appreciate you. We appreciate your courage. Yes, go Wisconsin nurses. We love you. That's the word that's coming up. Congratulations to the nurses from Allison. People are sending you so much love. So keep the faith. Up with the nurses. I know that's right, Janet. Hell, we all need nurses. Up with the nurses. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate you, and congratulations on your victory. And there are going to be many, many more to come.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Senator Turner. Really appreciate your support. You're awesome.
I got you, baby. My pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you for having us.
My pleasure.